What is your intention? You can be a president. According to your soul.
I really like how people contain their time in their faces. And they can, all of their individuality is in the expression of their face. There's so much you can see from it and feel. People's faces, the way they look, you could have 3 people with exactly the same face, but because of their personality, you wouldn't even notice that they were the same face. Do you know what I mean? So the way somebody's thinking and feeling, it's how they actually move the muscles in their face, and over time it gets, the light from within, whatever, it radiates out in a different way in different people. When I was younger, I was making paintings of people, pictures of people all the time, and as I got a little older, when I went to school, it got a little more focused. I was reading Balzac, I was reading Flaubert, I was reading Lost Illusions. I started to get more focused in the kind of world I was interested in, and within making pictures of people. I read a book about Napoleon by Vincent Cronin when I was probably 24, and it just changed my life. There was a portrait on the cover that was made by Baron Gros, and it was of Napoleon when he was, I think, the 2nd lieutenant. His hair was still long, he was young. And he was just like kind of taking on, just kind of becoming what he was. And I don't know, for the first time I got it that people tell their history. One person really can change the world, sometimes in a really bad way, but sometimes in a great way. And people do that in their communities all the time too. One person's will can really affect so much, consciously and unconsciously. And I think it began to make me think about history that way, that people do contain their time, people make their time, and that gave me a sense of purpose, if you will. Like I thought there's a very good reason for me to do this and to try to capture this thought. I get very excited by people who make things. I think it's so magical that anybody makes anything. And those people tend to be quite individual and very particular about everything about themselves, not even consciously. And I find that very fascinating, and I find people who make things very heroic, because they have to, the better the artist, the more vulnerable they're making themselves. And to be vulnerable, you have to risk a lot, personally. And I think that's quite heroic to do that. For me, it's really what they do that's so fascinating. And I think, say, somebody like Kurt Cobain, he was very good at what he did. And talk about making yourself vulnerable. or he wasn't making himself vulnerable, he was vulnerable. And you could feel that in his work. So honest and almost harsh how pure it was.
Good morning to you, mother. What is your intention? I want to be a president.
When people ask me about, they're well-known people. Well, people who do things and do them well are well-known. My interest isn't with their well-knownness, but that they're great. You know, what they do is so beautiful or so great. And some of those people are very well-known because they're so great. You know, and some people I paint are my friends who are artists who sometimes are well-known, but you know, that's not how I'm experiencing it. I'm experiencing it as somebody who I'm admiring and inspired by. Prince Harry, Queen Elizabeth in particular, really, she was like all of us, born into a certain life, and what she did with it was amazing. You know, really something to look up to, really a very strong person with a strong will. And with Harry, he just sort of shined like an angel. You know, there's something about, you know, I don't know him, it was from photos, but I was really taken with seeing pictures of him in a crowd, say. There's one picture I did of him at a football game. And he's just this magical little angel. And for me, I've made pictures of so many members of that family, actually, over time. His mother, his grandmother, his great-great-grandfather, great-great-great-grandfather. You know, so I see a lot of those, and Queen Victoria, those family members in his face. I felt about him that he could be more free, you know, because he wasn't the king, he wasn't going to be the king. And I was interested in that. My feeling about that person isn't necessarily different, whether I'm working from a photo or from memory or from life. But the kind of picture that happens from two people being in a room together is quite different. You know, it's a moment in time. And it's quite challenging, and it has to happen pretty quickly. Of course, it's not finished in one sitting, but you know, you got to get it because people can't just stand there for 16 hours. You know, you have to get them while they're still lively. They're not like all falling down. And there's a technical thing. There's a lot more light in the pictures from life. Working from photos, they tend to be so saturated in the color. The kissing, I find, is such, you know, it's just the wrong thing to do in some way. It's such a challenge to, you know, some people say it's a challenge to paint in this time. But then after that, it's a real challenge to try to show something that is really emotional like that, like love, and to actually make it not look stupid is a really great challenge. You know, and it's something that people could look at and, you know, just takes your thoughts in a certain place. You know, for me also, people are an occasion for painting. You know, a place for me to put a lot of my feelings about life. And, you know, just sometimes I paint flowers, and those are an occasion for, you know, feelings and to express how I feel. So you know, of course, I'm inspired. It begins with the person, and it is about the person, but it's also, you know, it's a combination of a lot of things. I think there's a reason why I paint, because it's not really in language that I can explain it to you, in a way. I think that I want them to be quite hopeful images, you know, that are inspiring, you know, something that's beautiful, I hate words that start with en, but that enriches the world around it. That's something to aspire to, even, if you know what I mean. Sometimes it's a moment in somebody's life, and I think that's amazing, a person in time. You know, time is never stopping, and people are never stop changing, and they really do change. So when I was younger, a lot of my paintings had a kind of urgency to capture somebody at a specific moment, because, you know, it was the right moment, kind of thing. But now I see that that's not just about youth. That's also, as time goes on, you come to different things. You know, I think as an artist, I think artists always feel like, well, I don't know, I feel like I come from a family. You know, I can find my family. I'm not saying I'm as good as these people, but I feel like I have a similar pursuit, maybe. Say somebody like Van Dyck or Sargent, Manet. So Warhol, of course, I admire so much, and he loved the time he lived in. I love the time I live in. I love culture. I love people who make art, you know. So there we're similar. I don't know. We're in different times, and I found a different way to go after that, maybe.